Good evening, and welcome to uh, Mýrdalssandur, Mýrdalssandur, Iceland. A very intriguing game, nonetheless, and notably not fairs. I keep on thinking I'm in the mood for fairs, and then when it comes to it, I'm just not quite. Good evening, JSVT40. You are indeed around for a stream. Good to see you. And I'm glad you like the music. I quite like it as well. It's well, it's not quite timeless, is it? But it's certainly one of my favourites genres. Just close a couple of tabs there, and yeah, let's see what this is like. I don't think it's the longest game in the world, so it might not be the longest stream in the world, but we shall see. Let's. So here we are at my Steam page, and Steam have just started their sale, and boy oh boy is this a dangerous time of year to have a Steam account. But we shan't dwell on that too much. I have my eye on some things on my wish list. We'll see what the prices do. But some of them 80% plus. Crackers, just crackers. Quality scaling, blimey. 230 something, 190, 210 frames per second. Is it sort of auto scaling, do we think, or? The game for today, it is a walk around on the Iceland coast photograph taking sim, so it should be interesting. I had to buy a bunch of games on Steam I may not play because I couldn't afford not to. I'm just going to press start. There we go. I thought it was going to reach its own setting there, but it didn't. Well, there's one called, is it Heaven's Vault? That I'm very interested in. That's roughly down to about a tenner now. Which is like an archaeology in space kind of game, which looks like fun. And here we are. Oh, this is going to be a menu. Oh, nice. It's very relaxing. Already. Okay, well, we go this way. I've gone old school for my controls this evening. WASD mouse. Yeah, it's very pretty. It looks a little bit soft to my eyes, but maybe, I don't know. It was running it was scaling to 200 and something frames per second, so I don't know what that means. Maybe if I just on a fast travel. Let's see if I can check the preferences. Photo capture resolution, video settings. Okay. So this is where we're at. Lighting high. Resolution, fill the distance. Ah, and then we can. Oh man, let's run a benchmark. Let's see what happens when we run the benchmark. I'm curious. So 60 FPS. I'm watching on my phone too. Don't trust me on the video quality. I don't know, man. Some phones these days can be pretty impressive. The amazing Ruth recently got her hands on the Pixel 5, I think, and she's very much been enjoying the screen on that phone. I'm not normally a benchmark kind of fella, but I feel as though this evening, with this particular game, getting the best visuals that we can is probably a good idea, so. But it's looking okay. Crucially, there was no screen tearing when I was rotating on the spot when I was moving the camera, so maybe we're in fine fettle after all. So yeah, I think there were certain key places where you might be able to. I think you take some photos, certain photos, and then I think there's a secret sort of mode that you can unlock in this game. I haven't looked too much into it, but that's what I've gleaned so far. Okay, so fairly solid, 59, 60 FPS so far. Mine's obscured by a cracked screen protector, so it's kind of like watching through broken glass. Really should fix that. Yeah. Well, screen protectors, they are very useful. Mine has a crack at the moment. It's not a very obvious crack. It's a hairline crack across the bottom third, but it's just a nice reminder that that means that my screen was protected. But yes, definitely need to replace it. Okay. How do we end the benchmark then? Is this going to go on forever? Okay. No, yeah, it was just going to go on forever. So I thought, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember benchmarks being a bit more, almost like doing like a round trip, and then it's over. Cracked mine recently after years of questioning how people crack their screen. Yeah. How do people? I just don't. Oh no. So how do we get the camera out, I wonder? Oh, there is the camera. Left alt to show camera controls. And unfortunately, left alt will put is a button that I've. Oh no, that's right alt. Okay, left alt. Let's see what happens. Okay, exit camera, space, zoom, mouse wheel, take photo, left click. Yep. Autofocus, right click, manual focus, right click, plus mouse wheel, just image arrow keys, top portrait, left control. Oh right, yes, okay. Okay, so space, zoom, take photo, autofocus. This is very pleasing, isn't it? This is very, very pleasing. Autofocus. What do we need to photograph? Am I even asking the right question? And then so we can manual focus by holding right button, right mouse button, and then rolling the mouse wheel, we can create some depth of field. Nice. I wonder if we can change the aperture and stuff like that. I have no idea what to expect from this. How I've been doing? I've been doing okay. I am very tired. Mrs. Soup and I are gearing up for some time off in the next couple of weeks, in fact. So Friday should be the beginning of a 2-week holiday. Although, of course, I've already lined up to do some recording on Sunday and probably Tuesday. But I'm going to be very disciplined about not working. I've already got a couple of videos in the bag to release next week and the week after. And we're both doing a little bit of just thinking about what's going on, what we'd like to try and do next with our lives as it were together. But also crucially, in order to be able to do that with a clear head, you need to have a bit of a chill. To be honest, I'm confused as well. There's no, I mean, we picked up a camera. There's no particular objective, it seems. It's very foggy. Can we crouch? knock off a cliff if I'm not careful. Must be careful. Oh, look at that waterfall. Yes, please. Like a trying to get the rocks out of don't be yeah. Do you know, the other day I was editing the footage from the Sheffield protest, and I have to say I was a little bit irritated that no one had said, why are you don't live stream in portrait. Such a waste of screen space. Well, okay, I'll take a picture. Okay, that's one. But there doesn't seem to be much of it. Let's see if we go into field of view resolution. So if we do the field of view right down. Oh, that's changing the actual game. Where was it? Was it 60 something? 67. View distance, refresh. That's the actual. Okay. Preferences, mouse sensitivity, photo resolution, look smoothing low, motion blur normal. There doesn't seem to be any oh, so there's some good field of view in terms of your vision. Get the camera up. See if we can. No. Set resolution to 1. Well, like 1 pixel. Hey, C is crouch. I was pressing Control. C is crouch. There we go. So now we can crouch. We can get the photo we've been looking for. If we can just find the place I want to take the photo from. Yeah. Okay. Now. Still not a very shallow depth of field. Bring up our autofocus, manual focus, right click and mouse wheel. Yeah. And then arrow keys. Oh, there we go. Arrow keys adjust image settings, okay. Might be to keep it if it's no, it's literally, I think, yeah, I need to. So I don't want the filter. Nope, no filter. Strength. So f-stop. That's what we want. Let's go for like a 5.2. Not really making any difference. The autofocus doesn't seem to be as active now. Sorry, I'm just trying to just get my hands, get my head around using the camera properly. if I actually had the camera in my hands, then we'd be off. Okay, let's go to here. Let's get something where you can get a real contrast in terms of... No, the focus isn't... They're making mistakes. That's strange. That might be because I've got the... Let's go to 1.2. Okay, there's a little bit. Maybe this isn't as good a subject as I hoped. Possibly not. But this is Iceland, man. How can that be a good subject? It's all gorgeous. Okay, I'm fixating now on the waterfall. One more photo. And then we move on. We shall move on. Okay. Camera away. Can we walk in the water? Ooh, nice. There's oh! Invisible wall there. Okay, let's go up to the waterfall. Oh. Oh, okay. Clearly I went off-piste. And the game got pissed off. My brother-in-law has been to Iceland. He said it was magnificent. He wants to go back again. Let's see. So we should get a really strong difference if I focus over there. Compared to there. Okay, let's try doing manual then. I don't know about you guys, I'm not seeing much change in focus there. Yeah, there's a really soft bit of focusing then. So if we go as small as we can. Yeah, okay. There we go. Just a relatively subtle effect. Well, I'll take that photo again. So I don't want to patronise folks by... Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely, yeah, Death Stranding, I think, was based on Iceland. I think they even did lots of texture work there. I was going to say they did some filming. I wonder if they did do some filming, I seem to recall. Or here. Good evening, Omni Revan. Oh, it's a Very pretty game. Thing is, these sorts of things, you always get to a point, where you think, is this actually a game? In so much as it feels more like it's an experience. But then again, I suppose all games are experiences, aren't they? That was nice. Yeah, I quite like a very shallow depth of field for this sort of photography. Frankly, even when I'm filming things, I often like, especially with a strong foreground-background difference, I like to emphasize it. Ooh, a glacier? It's a very peaceful game. That's kind of what I was hoping for when I saw it. Not much in terms of a hood. See, I really want to be able to just go down there, but I guess you know that there's a plan. There's a plan, Stan. Ooh. That really does look like a glacier. Okay, let's photograph that. Let's pap it. I'm not sure if that still got the filter on. It has, isn't it? Musa, Takia, Gaiden, Sicily, Senda. Is that most similar to real life? I think so. Ooh, what happened there? It is a walking simulator, I think, yeah. So walking through the mist. This is the problem, is that if in real life I think I would be this guy walking along, looking through my camera lens. I keep getting that weird zoom effect when I click. Let's take a picture. Had to deal with something, just got back. No worries, man. Welcome back. Good evening, Charmander. As I was saying at the beginning, you'll probably notice this is not Fez. I don't like that that effect. Let's see if we can get rid of. I don't want a filter. Fine. Boing. Yeah, it keeps on happening now. It sort of zooms in when I take a picture. Or blurs in. Just trying different keys. Let's see if... No. I was wondering if I can bring up my album. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's fast travel, so we can fast travel back to where we were. Oh, okay. Oops. Oh, that's good. There, that's more like it. Maybe we'll see all the photos that I've taken at the end of the walk, perhaps. Maybe that's how it goes. Reminds me of those landscapes where you have you know, odd geology that leads to you know, myths of people being frozen in space, this kind of thing. You know, there's a stone circle, I've forgotten which one it is now, but there's a myth that the stones are actually people who were caught trying to steal from a local church, this kind of thing. When you see odd rocks standing in weird angles, these kind of atmospheres are really conducive to that. Let's see, can we focus on the grass there? Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so it's not quite like a real autofocus. You have to sort of really tell it where in the frame you're focusing. What's the story? There isn't a story as far as I can tell. I think it's just walking around a chunk of Iceland taking photos. It's an interesting prospect. I don't know. I don't want to have to choose between the two. Maybe we could change the f-stop. Let's go up to 3.5. I don't know, I'm falling less and less in love with this angle. Take a photo and move on, I think. Change the f-stop back again. On we go. Oh, yeah, Icelandic fairies. I'm sure they represent a genuine risk to life and limb. You know, in some ways, this is precisely what I would be doing in this sort of environment. Mrs. Soup is long suffering for me going, ooh, taking photos. Instagram is one of my favourite inventions because finally there's a place for me to put all the random things that I take photos of. Yeah, that's good. Never really been someone to take photos of people, really. It tends to be places and things that I notice. So for example, a couple of years ago I noticed there was a sprout that had been discarded on the floor in a local supermarket, so I got down on the floor and took a picture of the sprout from a discarded sprout's eye view, and I was very pleased with that photo. There we go, so we're getting a little bit of that interplay now with the focus. It's quite nice. That effect when I take a photo seems to be happening in this part of the map. That could be it. That could be the one I'm thinking of. But I'm pretty sure one of the stones in the stone circle I'm thinking of looks like someone who's got a swag bag over their shoulder. So I think that's where the myth came from. Someone was trying to get away with the church silver or something. Although it does imply that the church silver was lost. A slight texture problem there. That's a shame. Let's not focus on it. The game deserves us not to focus on that. It does imply that the silver would be lost in the sack that's been petrified, I guess, with the stone. It could be the Piper's fault that the girls are dancing. Could be, but you know, mischievous girls are always dancing on the Sabbath. There's Pipers always beckoning them. Okay, shall we try a filter? The thing is, I'm not a big fan of the filters because, I mean, I suppose you can put, yeah, I guess you can put zero density filters onto, and coloured filters onto the lens on a DSLR, can't you? This just makes it feel a little bit more like Snapchat. No, not Snapchat, Instagram, sorry. Then again, I suppose a lot of people do like it. As I was just saying, I do like Instagram. Also, I tend to take photos without the filter as well, wherever possible. Ooh, there's a bridge. Evidence of, like, people. I feel like I've just pulled up in a, you know, got some walking boots on, pulled up in maybe on a bicycle or something. I'm just out for a stroll. There's an information board over here. How exciting. Oh, these are my photos. No, these aren't my photos. These are other people's photos. Let's interact with the board, shall we? What do we do? Interesting. Maybe we don't interact with the board. Maybe the board interacts with us. The padlocked gate. Are they sort of saying you need to take more photos and you can go beyond the gate, maybe? Oh, there's a key. There's a key. Oh no, this is the key. This board is the key, so yes. Interesting, maybe we need to go and find these photos perhaps. These photo opportunities. Okay. Let's go this way. Does, doesn't it? Take photos of the photos and steal them. Oh yeah, I wonder if we could fool the game by photographing the photo. They'll go, wow, you went there already? But you see what I mean? These sorts of rock formations almost look like something has crashed into the ground or something's laying down on the ground. I like it. I feel like the Mars rover. Oh, possibly. Possibly it did. Funny thing is that I've seen that there are people who, yeah, actually, just as we're approaching 39 minutes on the stream, I've seen that there are people who've played this whole game in 39 minutes. So I don't know if I'm being too luxurious here, languishing about. But again, you know, I wouldn't be the world's worst speedrunner if I played the game quickly. I'd like to know more about how this game was developed. I wonder if it's actually based on photogrammetry of the area. Oh, are we back? Is this the different waterfall? No, this is the same waterfall. How did we end up back here again? Carrying a compass and or map? I do not think so. If we go to there are no oh, so you mean put that resolution to 1 as in 1 whole? Sorry, I was being a smart ass before. Maybe that is. Ooh. Yes, that resolution is even better. And still no screen tearing. That's pretty good. There doesn't seem to be any sort of map or compass. Oh. Yeah, we just walked a circle. So there we go, that's the resolution up. I don't know about you, I'm seeing a little bit of texture popping, but nothing too bad. Okay, let's take another look at this map then. Ice cave tools. There's a VR DLC. Nice. Imagine this would be a very relaxing place to do VR. Can we go up here? There's actually a relatively small patch of landscape in terms of the circle that you can walk. But that's welcome. Right, here you go. This is one of the photos, isn't it? I think there was a little beep there, indicating that you got one. Good job. Feels like a tiny little bit of Skyrim on, you know, on ultra mode, doesn't it? It would be, yeah. I mean, that's a good question, actually. Do you think people would want... I mean, of course, people would buy Skyrim made to that sort of spec, but what would people rather have? The known quantity of Skyrim looking super duper, or the unknown quantity of, is it Hammerfell, the next one? But anyway, Elder Scrolls 6. Remember what the photos were now. Yeah, there was a big sandy coloured rock, which that's the only one I can really remember standing out. Canyon, we've got the canyon, I think. Let's see if I can spy the rock. I love the looming quality of them with the mist, the way that things sort of come out of the haze. Okay, now we're back at the waterfall. Let's go and see. Let's go and take a look at the picture again. You know, it's funny. It's a game where I don't want to be able to run around, but also running around would ruin the atmosphere, wouldn't it? Even though it would be convenient. Some wildlife would be nice, but that's probably asking too much of someone's spare time. Yes, there you go. So now a photo is gone. So we must have already got one of the photos by accident. Okay, so we have, well, it looks like the top of a glacier. No idea where that could be. A sandy coloured rock. Okay. Looking through grass at the mountain, I presume. And then a bit of a pathway. Okay. Yeah. My geolocation of an Icelandic volcano. I guess why not, you know? atmosphere. So, let's see. Looking for that grass. It's over here somewhere. Quite a strange setup, isn't it? That you're just sort of in the mist, and then you come across a camera on the floor, and now you're going around taking photographs. And there's a board set up. Aha! Aha! I see grass. I see mountain. So now, let's wait for the mist to clear and find a sort of clearing in the grass to get our mountain shots. There's the clearing. Just need to wait for the mist to clear. Maybe here? There we go. There's a beeping. That was one of them. So the glacier, it looks like you were sort of looking down on the glacier from above. So I'm guessing that's going to be somewhere up the path. The hidden areas apparently. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to get beyond that locked gate, wouldn't it? So that was a wall there. I couldn't go much further. Like a cave behind the waterfall, maybe. I tried going towards the waterfall, and it sent me back to the path, unfortunately. This looks very similar to that looking down, but it's not quite the right place. Maybe higher up. Again, similar, but not quite. It's funny, I've been playing Uncharted Golden Abyss on PS Vita. It's play Witcher 2 today. There's a cave and a waterfall behind that. It's one of those things, isn't it, in a computer game where you've always got to try, haven't you? Always got to try. But yeah, in Golden Abyss, there's some really interesting use of the console's capabilities. So one of them with the gyro and yeah, the expectation that it's got a couple of cameras in it is that you have to match up photos with photos taken in the level, this kind of thing, which is quite nice. Quite liking the use of the touchscreen as well. But also it still feels like a, you know, it's described on the back of the box, a full Uncharted game. It feels like it. I wasn't sure if it would feel a bit more like a compromised game, but so far so good. You see, we can't go that way. Let's back down to the bridge. Clearly, I am sticking to the path far too much. Excuse me. Let's go back up and try and push some of the edges, shall we? I think I would like to go to Iceland at some point. It does look very nice. But then again, it's one of those things where it's also it's places like Iceland and for example at the moment in Norway, things like glaciers are absolutely melting away and disappearing precisely because so many people keep on travelling to places like Iceland and Norway in aeroplanes. So it's one of those things where I almost feel as though to go there is ironically to put it at risk, or further risk. But of course, one person not going won't make much of a difference. The plane still departs. When do we find a sword and kill some dragons? Is that what you would say if you just got off the plane in Iceland? Welcome to Iceland. I think it's Iceland. Welcome to Iceland. Where's my sword? Where do you keep the dragons? Only once you found the fairy queen. Oh, I feel as though I just want to try and get around corners. It just won't quite let me get around. It's touch frustrating. There's some really good fairy queen stories from Denbighshire, where I grew up. There's one tale of some brothers, a couple of brothers, who actually got lost in the mist, much like this, because the wagon had come off their the wheel had come off their wagon, and they ended up at a party with a bunch of fairies, and essentially they were trapped. And you know, it was a lovely party at first, but then it became clear that the fairies were going to eat the boys alive, or maybe cook them first. So so they decided to combat them with the only way that they knew how, and that was with some of the, I think it was the iron off the wheel of their wagon. It was a material that the fairies were allergic to. I'm not sure if the word allergic was what was used in the tale, but they all went, and the boys got away. Obviously, it's a slightly longer story in the original. In the book where I first read it. Let's see if we go up here. Oh, this looks promising. There we go, that's one of them. That's one of the photos. There we go. Oh, it's like a nice river. Feel the wet on my shoes. I wonder if the people who used to play with, you know, oscillator machines and invented Pong, you know, very early sorts of computer games, they could have hoped that this sort of experience would be possible within their lifetime. Irish myths have some great stories. The Cornish story with the skis is interesting too. Yep, yeah, the Irish and the Cornish and the Welsh have some of the, well, very good stories, but also actually often quite original, quite strange in those different places. Variations of these creatures. We once went to what was it called now? Oh, here's the stone. And there's the waterfall. It's back here all along. Is it Ballynagowan? I can't remember. There was a stone circle we went to anyway. Doesn't need to be tingling this time. Where there was lots of fairy stuff sitting around. Yeah, there we go. People had been, you know, nailing little doors to trees, and you know, saying welcome fairies, and I was thinking, oh, this doesn't feel good. And my lovely mother-in-law, Mrs. Soup's mum, she's very into her old Irish tales, and she was like, no, you don't welcome fairies into your life. Because they'll steal your children and swap them out for something horrible. If you're lucky, that's the worst thing that'll happen. Let's see, you've got one more picture to do, is it? One more to go. And it is... So there's some grass and mossy rocks. Some grass and mossy rocks. Some grass over there. We know that. And obviously there's lots of mossy rocks here. So we need to find where the grass and the mossy rocks meet. Like brackish water, but for plants. Some mossy rocks. It, the implications, though, is that if this is quite sinister, that there's someone just... Oh, there's some grass. Could be some mossy rocks there. Well, here are some mossy rocks, but it's not quite right, is it? But yeah, the implication that there's someone watching you, having dropped you off here with no memory of where you are. Just say, take photos. Take these photos. The mossy rocks, they were... The floor wasn't completely covered in rocks, in moss. It was a little bit more selective than that, wasn't it? No, absolutely. An Irish grandmother would never have fallen for it. And also, I think this might be the place. We can just get the mist to abate just a wee bit. If we crouch here, how's that? Ah, yeah, they just slapped someone around the ear, I think. Ah, it's so misty. Let's take another look at that picture. Where's the... Just trying to understand what the exact kind of dispersal of moss is on the floor. And this is probably the hardest picture, isn't it? Because it's not particularly rich in actual landmarks. It's just, well, we just need some ground that looks a little bit like this. But it's more like an actual path, isn't it? It's a formal pathway. Well, formal pathway. It's a trackway. Bit of rise in the background to the right there. Okay. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Can't climb that fence. Can't walk around. Can't can't oh, can we walk around? Oh, no. We can't walk through here. Can I do that? So our pathway. With grass, with rocks, with moss, and with a rise in the background. I guess it could be down here. There's our stone. We've already taken a photo of that, haven't we? Oh. Let's go down here, see what happens. A load of mist. Yeah, so we've been here for this photo. Let's continue down this path. See what happens. Can we go left? let's go back. I can almost feel the mizzle. The misty drizzle. They're my footsteps. Or what they might be. Oh, that's really cool. I didn't realise that we actually left footprints on the ground. So this is sort of the most similar that we've seen so far. See if there's another tangent to this, perhaps. I haven't heard the word mizzle since I lived in Cornwall. It's a very good word. It's a very descriptive word. It's a necessary word. Cornwall is an interesting place to me in terms of the way that. Well, you're welcome, Smig. Mizzle. Add that to your vocabulary. It's a good word. Yeah, Cornwall's always been fascinating to me in terms of the, especially the way the place names are. Essentially, they look like anglicised Welsh place names, which is really interesting to me. So I think I seem to recall there was a place, might have been called Trefnewid or something, or Newid. Basically, it was spelt very similar to Trefnewid, which just means Newtown in Welsh. And it also almost feels like someone in some places has run Welsh through a Saxon tongue, as it were. Which of course is by no means Cornwall's fault. And then Welsh into Cornish, and then into Breton in terms of languages and linguistics is a fascinating transition as well. Still no sign of that particular path. Yes, yeah, Cornish and Welsh are very similar. Yeah, which is reassuring. It is so it's a fellow so-called P-Celtic language, whereas I think Manx and Irish are Q-Celtic. The difference being can be illustrated through the word for head, so pen. Breton as well, yeah. So pen means head. So Penaeth was the head teacher, for example, in high school. But in Q-Celtic languages, it's not per, it's kya or k. So ken tends to be the equivalent. And that sort of goes across various sort of potentially linguistic choices that have panned out over time. Are we ever going to find that path? teasing us with lots of very similar combinations of gravel and foliage. Nope, so we can't go that way. It's got to be over here somewhere, surely. Don't call me Shirley. Yeah, Penzance. Pengigan, yeah. Penmaenmawr. Well, it's interesting. Welsh, so in the 50s, well, 30s through to the 50s, Welsh was, there was a very big risk that the language might actually die out. And the Welsh Language Society, I always forget what it's called. I know its symbol, though it's got a very particular symbol. They were part. They had various branches, so some people were quite radical and would go around burning down holiday homes, saying we don't want want English folk coming here and buying our houses, or vandalising road signs so they had the old Welsh names on instead of the English ones, because at that point that the road signs weren't bilingual. And then over time, the campaign for the Welsh language sort of gained momentum until eventually it was recognised as worthy of saving. Because you've got to put it in the context of the 16th century. I think it was called the Act of Union. Certainly an increasing unification with figures like the Prince of Wales, Henry Tudor, who, incidentally, Henry Tudor went to battle with a lot of support from the Welsh, because he marketed himself as a Welsh prince, which he kind of was. He was related to Welsh princes, but his son Henry VIII wasn't interested in Welsh or Welsh culture particularly, and from there it just got worse and worse and worse. So in the sort of 18th century, you could be someone who only spoke Welsh, and if you went to court, you'd be tried in English. They wouldn't accommodate your language if you were accused of a crime, for example. So things got quite bad. By the 1930s, 1950s, people were formally protesting, and by the end of the 20th century, it got to a point where it had been identified that Welsh needed to be formally folded into things like the national curriculum. There needed to be a program of things like, for example, including bilingual road signs, and this sort of only gathered pace with the devolution, the vote for devolution. I've forgotten exactly when it happened, but the turn of the millennium more about. So it happened when I was in my early teens. So the Welsh Assembly in Cardiff continued that sort of work, and so I mean, obviously I haven't been in school for a while now, but last time I was aware, everyone in all school kids in Wales learn Welsh up until year 9, so just before they're focusing on their GCSEs. You can do Welsh as a GCSE, or at least you could do. I'd be amazed if they dropped it. And I think you can even go on to do it as an A-level, in fact. But what it means is that it was encouraging a very basic level of Welsh throughout the whole country, north and south. And interestingly as well, the south has the strongest accents, or necessarily the most stereotypical accents. So things like Tom Jones and Dylan Thomas, this kind of thing. But often because of industry, so coal mining in particular, and other related industries, smelting, this kind of thing, the English language was the language of business and commerce and success. So not only was Welsh being legally discouraged. Um, but also as well, parents would actually more or less stop their parents, their kids from learning Welsh because it was seen as something that would actually hold you back in life. Again, we're talking over the course of a few hundred years, these different changes happening. But what it means is that even to this day, the rates of people speaking Welsh in the south is much lower than in the north. It's probably improved by now. And when I was just leaving high school, the rates of Welsh speakers had reached the highest that they'd ever been, as far as we know, which was really, really good. And for my part, I was fluent when I left Wales, but at the moment I wouldn't say I was fully fluent. An awful lot of it, I'm relearning a lot of it on Duolingo at the moment in terms of vocabulary. Because if you spend 10 years thinking in one language and doing an archaeology degree, for example, in one language, of course other words are going to go. But it wasn't inevitable. You don't have to be fluent to know to live in Wales. But it can help, certainly. Very early to learn another language. It may help. It is quite early, yeah, and I think it has a broader benefit. I think at the very least awareness of other words is good for your brain. So I mean, so there were some people. So for example, we had lots of people in my high school whose parents had come from Liverpool. Um, so we were on the North Wales coast, and their parents would be like, I don't, why are my kids learning Welsh? We don't need to learn Welsh, kind of thing. But actually, they very quickly see the benefits, because not only would they then get a bit more insight into the world around them, things like, araf, the slow, this kind of thing on the road, what it meant. But also, I think it definitely benefits you when you're not only stretching your brain, but also culturally a bit more aware as well. And it's one of the reasons why I always try to learn a bit of a language when I go to a place. I felt terrible that a couple of years ago I went to a speaking engagement in Germany and didn't really know a word of German. I could say things like danke and this kind of thing, and they were so lovely and very accommodating, and basically actually everyone just kept on speaking to me in English, and they were like, well, really don't worry about it. English is the language that everyone speaks, so we might as well speak English. I felt kind of bad because in that sense I knew that little bit of awareness. Is this it? This might be it here. This is it. Here we are. Little bit of awareness. There we go. Can give you so much insight into cultural priorities, into linguistic origins, in terms of sounds and the range of sounds that people make. And just simple things like place names, just knowing why, where you are, what it's called, what that name means, can just help you understand a little bit of the history of the place. So as I say, places like Tref Newydd, well, that implies that the town hasn't always been there, doesn't it? It implies that it's a newer town than some of the other places around it. And also through that as well comes an awareness of broader, dare I say it, essentially colonial issues, in so much as, so for example, Prestatyn, which is where I for the most part grew up, actually is not a Welsh town. It's not a Welsh place name. There's lots of Welsh place names around it. There's a very funny one just up the road, a place called Cwm, where people, there's actually a Welsh language, what's it called? Not a sitcom, soap opera called Pobl y Cwm, the people of Cwm. So lots of Welsh place names around it, but Prestatyn actually is a Welshified version of essentially Preston, which itself, Preston, is Priest Town. So there's a place called Preston in Lancashire, but Prestatyn. Um, at this point, my uncle would always say, "Press what in?" He was from Liverpool, so he'd be more like, "Press what in, eh? Eh?" I'd be like, "Ah ha ha ha." But Prestatyn was a place where there were some priests holding out during the Civil War. So there were some Catholic priests hiding from some Protestants who wanted to do horrible things to them. So the farm at Prestatyn became sort of the heart of what became the town. Are there people fluent in Welsh but not so much in English, or is that not practical? Less and less these days. I very, very much doubt that there will be people who don't know English anymore. So when I was a kid, when I was, I don't know, let's say when I was 14, for example, I knew of people who had grandmas then, or nines, N-A-I-N, nine and tide, grandmas who couldn't speak English, but their children definitely could. So my friends' parents definitely could. And also again, there was that slight stigma, that slight element of, oh, come on, man, you don't know how to speak, how to say this in English. Come on, get with the times. So it was, yeah, it became increasingly impractical. I think these days it's highly impractical. And what's interesting as well, actually, when you compare the north to the south, and that was something I was very aware of in high school, was that there was a teenage drama on S4C or S4C, the Welsh language TV channel, that was set in the high school. I think his name was it Rhodri? Was the protagonist? Very relatable, chap. Where all the kids, even though it was Welsh language, they were speaking sort of pidgin Welsh English combination. So it was really hard to have kids in a school, even set in the valleys down south, just speaking Welsh on a Welsh language TV channel. So yeah, not. I don't think anymore. Not really. That said, though, there've been what's the word? Incentives to learn the language. So if we move back to Wales, if I moved back to Wales and Mrs. Sook came with me, she wanted to get a job in the NHS as she currently has, then it would be highly ideal, highly preferable for her to be able to demonstrate that she speaks some Welsh in order to get that job, which she now does, because we've both been doing Duolingo together, which is really nice. And the gate is open. Hey! There are quite a few people in Cornwall hoping to get Cornish language into school, as far as I know, apart from private schools, only Cornwall College and Aberystwyth University run courses. Can you zoom in on the map, please? I want to try and scan the QR code. Yeah, sure. Where's the QR code? Ah, there it is. Ah, that's as focused as the camera will go. Can I get any closer? No. Is that any good? I doubt it. It's very, very small. Yeah, I doubt it can be scanned as well. I mean, let's try something. Just bear with me. I'll do a print screen, and if we go to paint, let's see if we can zoom in on that a bit. It's very blurry. No. I don't know if I'm moving that around too much. Oh, it worked! Brilliant! Where does it take you to? I'm curious. Anyway, let's take the path less trodden, shall we? The website for the Icelandic Road and Coastal Administration. Really? That's really cool. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. What a wonderful bit of information, of little detail there. But again, if this was based on a photogrammetry, then maybe it's a photo of a real information board. Oh, look at that! Let's see, can we turn down the? No, that's too much. Oh, that's kind of cool. Exposure. White balance. That's quite nice. Well, I think there's a QR code that turns up in actually in Fez. Oh, who is that? Or is that me? Have I discovered myself? Thanks for playing, it says. Lovely. And there we go. You don't like the drop. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been dark, wouldn't it? If that was the person who had been leaving, he had been saying, take a photo of this, take a photo of that, and then I'll let you through to a boss fight. Oh. Are we now back at the beginning? Oh. I think we might be back at the beginning. Is my camera going to be over here, is it? And don't go into the mist! Oh! Okay, so it just says thanks for playing, then sends us back towards the information board. Well, there we go. So now there's this weird dark mist down at the end of that pathway. Cool, crikey, blimey. Ah, interesting. Well, tell you what, but since that's done, let us. I'll just very quickly show you. What was it? So a couple of the items on my wish list that I'm interested in. If I can get to my wish list. There we go. So, Dawn of Man looks like fun. It is. It says City Builder, but it looks as though it's a game about resource management and helping people to come through from the Paleolithic into what looks like the Iron Age there. So that could be fun. Dawn of Man. What else was there? There was yes, there's a couple that I have in fact picked up now. Yeah, so that was the other one, Black Mesa. Yeah, of course. That's, I want to get hold of for 5.99. Definitely worth it. Deep Rock, Galactic. But I'm thinking about the ones which are more specifically archaeological in their focus. Spiritfarer. Oh, this is meant to be very good, actually. A very, very wholesome game. Um, Cozy management game about dying. uh, Medieval Dynasty. I haven't seen that. Let's take a look at that. Also, do you know if that what's the is there like a what's the word, protocol or best practice if when a stream goes off topic? So now that we're away from the game, should I change the stream info to something else at this point, or um anyway, let's go to the store and search for Medieval Dynasty. There we go. Oh yes, I think I have seen this. Oh, that does look good. Hmm. It's a very 20% sale, so quite modest, but I shall wish list it. Let's go to home. Hades. No. Shadows Die Twice. Sekiro. That does look good. Although I did recently get hold of uh, and it's actually in my PS4 now, loaded and waiting for me to start it. Ghost of Tsushima. So I should play that before I get another game like that. Dear Esther, heard good stuff about that. It's a walking sim, isn't it? But with a story. The Convenience Store. J horror game about a college girl on a night shift. Crikey. Not that I'm aware of. Some streamers go full webcam when that goes just to chat, but not when looking at sites. Okay, okay, that's fair enough. Um, just as long as I'm not breaking the was not the rules, but I mean the niceties of twitching. I don't know. The graphics don't look too good on that one. No. Players like me love Canarium. Got that. Played it. Blood Rain, yeah. Call of Cthulhu, got it. The Suicide of Rachel Foster. Crikey. Bad Company Sergeant on YouTube did live stream Medieval Dynasty yesterday. It looks really good. Okay. Okay. Well, I shall keep an eye on it. I won't get it immediately. I'll look into it a bit more, but it's now on my wish list. Um, Coming back to a family hotel years after years, a young woman finds herself trapped in the ghost with the ghosts from her past and an old cellular telephone as the only way to unveil a terrible truth. Mm, that doesn't look like fun. I shall wish list that as well. About the game. As the weather unexpectedly turns for the worse, Nicole has no way to leave the large mountain lodge and find support in Irving, a young FEMA agent, using one of the first radio telephones ever built. Interesting. Intéressant. Modern version of The Shining, exactly. Yeah, it looks very much like The Shining. Shadow Man remastered. I got Shadow Man on the Dreamcast. I kind of want to play it on that. So I won't investigate that. Um, Chicken Horse, Ultimate Chicken Horse. The Room 4. Wow. I didn't realise that they'd made more than two versions of that. Let's click on that. You're going to let me? Hmm. Subnautica. Well, I've seen Subnautica, and I've heard interesting things about that actually. Um, I've seen it though mainly on the PlayStation 4 in Smiths. That's currently on at 50% on the old. Ah, see, these are dangerous times. This is a dangerous time of the year, isn't it? On Steam. Oh, it's got a sub. I accidentally clicked on a Subnautica notification there. Well, there we go. And then we have what else did I get? I got let's stop that game from running just now. There we go. And yes, that's right. No, I did. I got Heaven's Vault. That's it. This one looks very interesting. So you got this robot and this sort of archaeologist who's investigating hieroglyphs. Um, and it's got quite a beautiful art style as well. And I am intrigued by it. And this person's giving it a thumbs up. So played the first time of the Room series. It was interesting, but some of the puzzles are really hard. We got the first Room game on Switch and quite enjoy the use of motion controls in that game, but they're not terribly well implemented. It's one of those things where you sort of sometimes fighting with the controllers to make it do what you want it to do. But it was satisfying. You know, the puzzles were satisfying. I don't think we had to look up too much in the way of next steps um, of what to do. But there were like three of us playing it at the same time. Um, Archeo Shinar or Shinar looks like it could be fun. Um, it's got the where's the descriptor of its store page? Uh, Explore the deepest caves with a cup of tea in your hand. Reach the heart of the jungle with your finger on a globe. Send your highly educated employees to uncivilized tribes, and don't let them convince you it's a certain death. The worst case scenario, you'll just hire new ones. So it's like I think you're in charge of either a company or an academic investigative team, and you're just sending people out to pick up items and investigate stuff. Very uh, potentially quite cynical, potentially quite funny. I'm quite intrigued by it, and also prices in pounds. I mean, the pound sign is at the end of the numbers instead of at the beginning, but you don't often see pounds in computer games. Um, yeah, the mouse. Okay, so it wasn't just the Switch controls then; it was the mouse. It's the mouse as well. Okay, so maybe it's just the game or the game series. Um, yeah, Archeo Shinar. Uh, looks like it could be interesting. And then also I got Franbo. Now this isn't archaeological. This is just dark. But it's a game that I came across based on a couple of people's YouTube essays, video essays, um, and it is about well, it's age gated. There we go. Franbo is a creepy adventure game that tells the story of Fran, a young girl struggling with mental disorder and an unfair destiny. And we'll leave it there. I do know the story of it, but I wouldn't want to spoil it for people who haven't played it. So yeah, Frambo, it's an interesting one. Very distinctive art style. It's almost like cut out paper, um, floating across different planes. Very surreal as well. So yeah, look forward to trying that one out. Ah, quite relaxing that one, that image. So yeah, Steam. I guess if you have any particular recommendations or ideas, I definitely accept them. Definitely reach out to me on the um, on the Discord server. Absolutely. Did I mention I was looking forward to a holiday? There we go. Um, it has been fun, guys, tonight. Thank you so much for turning up and for your time this evening, as ever. But I think it's just turning midnight. I think I'm going to go and. I do have Goat Simulator, yes. I do like it. Um, Great fun, but not one that stays installed for long. I tend to play it in short bursts, but I do like a bit of Goat Simulator. The Untitled Goose Game is one that Ruth actually got on her Switch uh, a little while ago, and um, 50% off. I'm gonna have to add it to my wish list, and I very much enjoyed that. I haven't played the whole thing yet. I'm actually up to like the second level, which is this area here, where the goose is just attacking that boy there. Lots of fun, the goose game. Yes, you need a break. Have a holiday. I will have a holiday as of Friday. Glad you had fun, JSVT 40. And yes, it's midnight, so I'm gonna wish you well. Wish you good night. I might play a bit more Uncharted Golden Abyss on the PS Vita before I go to sleep. But yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you undoubtedly in the Discord. Until next time, do take care. Bye bye all. Good night.